Time now for another installment of our series, Defending the First, where we expose the enemies of the First Amendment, free expression, and free thought. A high school teacher in Brownsburg, Indiana, is saying he was forced to resign after he challenged the district's policy on transgender students. That policy requires teachers to address these students by their preferred name instead of their birth name. Teacher John Kluge says that violates both his religious beliefs and his constitutional rights. I recently spoke to both Mr. Kluge and his attorney, Ross Stovall, and I began by challenging Mr. Stovall on whether the school district really violated his client's rights. You can't use the classroom for anything you want to do speech-wise. I mean, you are under contract with the school, so if someone who's a teacher of anthropology suddenly wants to get up and talk about his or her view on, Nazism or creationism, you say, well, that's my free speech right. Well, yeah, okay, but you're under contract with a school to teach, Spanish. So you can be fired for that, correct?
Right. Well, yeah, to your point, we believe there's a constructed discharge here, that they unreasonably threw out an accommodation that was in place. They actually had a written agreement with John to allow John to actually express his convictions by using only last names of all the students. That reasonable accommodation was tossed out by the administration after the school year, and he was told he either resigns, he follows the line of the school using these transgender names that were not, as he said, the birth names, or he will be suspended and then terminated. Those were the choices. That's a Hobson's choice. So from the standpoint of our legal position, we believe we have an illegal discharge. That's number one. But number two, the constitutional issue is, can the government compel him to violate his religious beliefs? There is sufficient federal law that says that they must make a reasonable accommodation if he has religious beliefs. And those cases are really well established around the country. We believe this is a new one, though, because this deals with an insidious effort by a governmental entity, if you will, a school paid by taxpayer funds. So we see this as a different wrinkle than we've seen before in the cases coming up.
Well, I think the studies on transgenderism are very difficult. First of all, there's no real long, peer-reviewed study that we can look at with, like, whether hormone blockers. We don't need to get into that because that's not really relevant here. But all I'll say is that there has been a really explosive growth in kids calling themselves transgender. And just in this British study, they went from, I think it's 94 referrals as gender dysphoria is a technical term, from 2009 to 2010, 94 at this clinic, to now between 2016 and 2017, 1,986 referrals, including some of those for children younger than 6 years of age. Now, a lot of people are thinking that this could be gender-affirming treatments or actually encourage kids who call themselves transgender. Most of them grow out of it. That's just the way it is. Most of them grow out of it. But also other studies, adolescent health journals saying that they are 2 to 3 times more likely to suffer from depression, suicide, other mental disorders. Very difficult. Right. So, John, are you acting in part out of concern for these kids, thinking that they're getting bad advice and from their parents or others?
I do really care about these students, and that is why I wanted to kind of sidestep this whole issue. I wanted to focus on teaching the kids orchestra, on being able to reach out to them, and I have been able to, over the course of this year, cultivate friendly relationships with my students, including these transgender students of mine. And I really want to continue teaching there. I love these kids, and I want to continue that work I've done.
John, what was the reaction from the other students? They must have heard about this. What grade are we talking about here?
9 through 12.
Okay, so what was the reaction of the other students when this student suddenly changed names in the middle of the term?
Well, in my class, because I've been referring to students by their last name only, it hasn't really been a topic that's been discussed. We focused on working together as a team to create beautiful music. And so I think I've been successful in being able to create a culture in my classroom that they are respecting each other, and I expect them to, and I and I care for them and do respect them all.
All right. And Ross, the suit being filed in federal court?
Well, we hope not. We hope that the school board at 6:30 on Monday recants. Alliance Defending Freedom brought me into this as an allied attorney to try to avoid we always try to avoid litigation. If we can get accommodations handled, we do that. That's what John wants. That's what we want. But if that
he wants to go
happen,
back and teach. John wants to go back and teach and have his job back.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.